Doubling Down is back, and it is one of my most anticipated weekends of the year, as not only is it the Belmont Stakes, it is the Belmont Stakes up at Saratoga. Many of us here from Trust the Profits will be at Saratoga this weekend. So if you're out there, drop it in the comments, hit me up on Twitter, and we can hopefully meet up to all my wonderful fans that are out there. This week, Sherbet Coffee is sponsoring the show. Check out sherbetcoffee.com. Use the promo code TTP20 to get 20% off. I can't speak enough about how good the coffee is. It is what I have every morning here as I go through my past performances. Great brain power for those of us that are horse players. And I also want to tell you, before we dig into the Doubling Down Daily Double for this week, if you joined my live stream on Kentucky Derby Day, me and Jessica had some great hits. And one angle that I gave that not only gave us the Chad Brown try, but also program trading on that particular day is an angle that comes back for the Belmont Stakes. Here it is from Race Lens. It's Chili Flag and Carl Spackler. Chili Flag racing on Friday, Carl Spackler on Saturday. Chad Brown in graded stakes turf routes over the last 2 years with 4-year-olds and up, in which their last race was their best speed figure, have come back to win 29% of the time with an ROI of 102%. Now, you can't just rely on these angles and bet them blindly, but when you have a race with all of the Chad Browns, 5 of them in the Just a Game, and you need to separate them a little bit, check it out right here on Race Lens. It gives you the green angle to click on. We're going to click on it very easily, and it's going to bring you to, in this particular race, Chili Flag, the number 6. Success score 8, ROI 231%. I believe that's this year. Hard to ignore that. Something to just pay attention to, and something I have found having fun with Race Lens. Check it out at Equibase. Now, let's get to a very special new guest on Doubling Down. I love how my viewers love hearing the new voices. That has been the goal of this show as we enter through episode 76 or 77. We are getting up there. It's to give you as many different voices that are out there and how they might play a daily double. Let's get to it.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Sherbet Coffee.
Smoke, baby. What's up, Rennie time?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Colin. How goes it?
It goes. I'm so glad to have a new voice on the show. We always love hearing the voices of Twitter, as I call them, and some of them have become some of my very good friends who I will be hanging out with up at the spa this Friday and Saturday, including Vinny Blonde. But Rennie, you get your first shot at the Doubling Down Daily Double, and I'd like to know from you, let our viewers know, is the Daily Double a bet that you use often? Is it something you're comfortable with, or are we putting you on the spot in an uncomfortable situation here?
No. Appreciate the question, and I'm a huge double guy. I love the double. I kind of went to it more the last 3 years. Didn't used to play them at all. Kind of first starting and then getting going. Did a lot of exactas, pick 5s, pick 4s. Then kind of met an older guy at Portland Meadows who all he did, and kind of into that little run. I started hopping in on that and kind of like it. It's a quick slap. As anyone knows, doing parlays in sports, the more you go, the more chances you have to mess something up. So the double's nice, 2 races, you know what I mean? And you can use it to, it's a par mutual pool, as we know, with horse racing. So you can get some value. You can use maybe you have a huge favorite, single it, put some prices in the next leg, or vice versa. Toss a favorite. A lot of value can be created with the double. So big fan of the bet. You can go a lot of different ways with it. I try to stay skinny as possible. Sometimes I'll do like a big chalk and then a bunch of horses the next leg, just open it up, and some huge field or something, and just take a shot, toss the 2. I usually go throw out, if I use a favorite and I go real deep, I'll toss the favorites, because I'm not here to win the little 3 to 5 to ones off a double. You know what I mean? So yeah, big fan of the bet. Love it. Love the show that you do about it.
Yeah, and it's great because, like you mentioned, being the daily double, you can look at what the probable payouts will be. And so, I always say these two things. You can't hit a pick 4 or pick 5 if you can't put together a double. And you don't know what a payout's going to be on a pick 4 or pick 5, but you can on a daily double. So you can look at those probables and figure out what is the value and what's it actually going to pay, as opposed to a little bit of the, well, if I hit the pick 3, I don't know what it's going to be. As far as a payout and how much am I supposed to be putting into it. You got to be really well versed to know what your ticket cost is going to be based on who you're using, such as favorites, and what the payout's going to be. So that is obviously an important thing to pay attention to. But a favorite I got to talk to you about is, before we get into our daily double, you must be pretty jazzed up about race number 10 for Saturday in the Met Mile.
Yeah, buddy, you know it. Right above me here, my boy White Barrio getting busy, back in form. Talking to the owners, I talk to him all the time about his Saudi Arabia trip. He wasn't eating his feed all the way, kind of leading up. Didn't travel that well, and he kind of showed it. He flashed speed early. He was kind of, he just kind of got in the mix of the traffic. I think what is like 20 horses, huge field. He flashed a little bit, but I knew in the walkway. I said I did a little video. I just knew he didn't have it. He kind of tucked his head. It was like the first time I saw him face older horses. He did a similar thing. I just think he just wasn't feeling it. Horses just don't have athletes. They just did not have it that day. And he showed that. As we all know, he's a much better horse than what he showed. So I'm pumped up to get him back. Short field. Hey, whatever. I think that's kind of just how it is in general. The Met Mile hasn't been too deep the past couple years, anyways. But all I said was no one hole with that shoot. I like that he has real natural speed, and he'll. So with the 6 hole, I couldn't be any happier for that. And I mean, he should wrap him up. I mean, I don't think hey, that's just me. But if you want to create value, it's there. Short field, long odds is a real thing. He's going to be over bet. And National Treasure will be the one, though. It could save Waterburio's price. National Treasure, there's a lot of Baffert homers out there. There's a lot of stuff going on with that horse. That horse has a good following, and it actually ran real well its last 2 races. It actually ran really good in Saudi Arabia, coming off the Pegasus, I think, right before that. Yep. And so that I'm actually a little nervous, but the horse I'm actually scared of is Blazing Sevens. No really clue how much has it improved. How strong has it gotten? Chad's barely raced anything. Had some talent when it was young. Put on the shelf. You never know. Some horses, sometimes those horses wake up. So kind of wild card horses. I'd probably go with Blazing Sevens for a price. If I was to shoot against my boy Water Bray, I'll probably do a straight exacta there. But let's get that home, White. We're back.
Yeah, you can't play against him. And Blazing Sevens came out with a huge effort in his first race as a 4-year-old. There's always the concern that sometimes first off a layoff, they are just amped up and then they regress. Or is that the sign of maybe what Blazing Sevens could become as an older horse? And I'm glad that Whiteabara didn't show up, because that race has been my biggest hit this year for about 2K with my boy Senior Buscador, who's a doubling down hero. He started this show for me with Vinny, so he'll always be in my mind here on this show. But we got to jump into what we've got going on for our daily double. First one is race 11. This is for Saturday at Saratoga, Belmont Stakes Day. The Manhattan Stakes, going a mile and 3/16 on the turf for 4-year-olds and up, a field of 9. And you can say this as I went through every single race this weekend. You got some tough choices to make. You've got some awesome fields, some of the best horses in the country coming in for this weekend. I thought that there, obviously I mentioned Program Trading in my open because he was one that I hammered on Kentucky Derby Day with that angle of Chad coming back with 4-year-olds who are coming off their highest speed figure. I thought there was a lot of horses in here that were fairly inconsistent that I was a little concerned to go with, such as Farbridge and Nation's Pride. Where did you end up here in the Manhattan?
Yeah, it's the first leg of the double we'll do here. And like you said, it's a real one of those it's a long turf race, a mile and 3/16. You have 2 Chads, 2 Clements, and two, what is it, O'Brien's, I'm pretty sure. And that's, or Applebee, excuse me, two Applebee's. And so that always, is going to be the longer one of the two. Always a weird little thing for me when you have the two sets like that of all of them first class turf trainers, so it's like, and they're all going to be ready, so it's going to be very difficult. The pace dependent on these real long turf races gets you sometimes mentally, you just think you want a deep closer going a mile and 3/16, but sometimes they just get out and they can't pass. So, but I think the pace is going to be honest. The 4 strong quality, the Cassie horse should roll out of the gate, start cooking, get it going for everyone. And I think program trading has that natural speed. I was going to single him to start the double, but I'm going to go too deep. Program trading I'm going to use because I think he has that natural speed to break right in probably the 3rd spot. And, he's won 5 of 6 races. Chad Brown. This might be one of his better ones in a long time. I mean, this horse loves winning. You know what I mean? He just shows it time and time and again. And this out of the 6 races, he got second on the one he didn't win. So he's gonna be there. Like, maybe win, maybe not. He could. I was gonna single him, like I said, but maybe the long turf race. Let's throw someone else in. So I'm including program trading. I think could sit off have the trip. But then I was like, I almost went double Clement to start it off too. Tossed the favorite, but I went with the longer of the 2 Clements there. The shorter of the 2 Clements. He's a 20-1 there. Far Bridge, 10-1 morning line odds. Another horse that has shown some talent that I think can improve, going up a little bit here. And again, I think has natural speed to not be too far back. Like, I'm worried, I get worried about taking the super deep closer that you just absolutely have to come from the clouds. But those long races, there's not a lot of these turf races we see throughout a year. You know what I mean? And when's the last time you see a mile and 3/16 race, huh?
Yeah, and I can't agree with you more with program trading. I'm a big fan of this horse. Not only has he done what you said, but 3 of those are grade 1 victories. And so when I talked about in my open here to this race, it was looking for consistency. And I'm just a little concerned with some of these horses who have gone off as favorites, like Nation's Pride, and haven't gotten there, right? And so, yes, program trading for me is absolutely a horse that I want. I was really intrigued by one of the Shug McGahees, the number 2, Ohana Honor. And I'm going to take a stab here with this horse at 15-1, getting Kendrick Carmouche aboard. One thing I like about this horse, Mike, is the versatility the horse has shown. So it's won on the front end, but has also come from closing off the pace. And obviously the competition has not been there. He's been racing handicap, stakes, allowances, ran in the grade 2 last time against Silver Knot and finished 4.5 lengths behind, including beating Nation's Pride. So for me, it's a little bit of a horse that I see versatility with. Shug McGahee doesn't have a ton running this weekend, so I have to figure that this one's going to be one of the ones that's pumped up. And Kendrick Carmouche, I think, is going to be is actually a jockey who's ridden him in that style where he's come from off the pace. But Carmouche, to me, is a jockey that I tend to think is going to have a horse forwardly placed. So I think that this horse offers some value and some versatility, and that is a reason that I was really high on Ohana Honor, easy for me to say. And then I went back and forth between the 6 and the 9. These are the 2 horses coming from overseas. Okay, the 6 is a French bred who, using Equibase speed figures, was a 122 last time, a 113 prior to that. I mean, those are just some monster numbers, but obviously the ship is a little bit concerning for me. And you mentioned the Applebees. Well, right here on this show, Vinny Blonde mentioned Appleby rides William Buick. And so I'm going to follow where William Buick's going with Appleby as opposed to Nation's Pride. So I will take a shot with one of the shippers, the number 9 Measured Time. I didn't want to go too far here, so I went with the 2, the 5, and the 9. The 6 did scare me. The 6 was one that I didn't know what to do with. I kind of don't know what to do with these foreign shippers sometimes, and I ended up leaving the Joseph O'Brien trained horse. I think that was actually ended up being the reason when I went through it is the Joseph O'Brien strong trainer. The percentages, though, just haven't been there, at least so far this year. So 259. Any qualms with that?
No, I like the thing with the including. I didn't include a couple of Euros, but the weather. If it's a damp track, hey, I was looking
Yeah,
at the six. That's all the sixes ran on. Like
true.
his last five races,
Yeah.
soft fast, good, soft fast, soft fast. Then you go out to measured time, good, 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 one
Hmm.
fast, good. So it's my. I like to have two of the Euros on there. I think you got the right ones. And going back to your price horse, it's going to have to go up in class, as we know. That's why you're going to take a stand with the price, though. But you have the right idea. I'm 100% with you. If I go for a Carmouche horse, I want him on the lead. Like I'd rather him not be on a closer. Nothing against him, just kind of his specialty. If you call it, some guys are just better on. Like the other, not Jose is better on the lead. Than coming off it. That's his style. Ortiz, Jose Ortiz. I'm talking. But yeah, so Carmouche for sure on the lead. So home honor, of course, needs to go up in class. But hey, same with my Clement horse. Got to go up. You got to take a stand sometime. But I like the 2 Euros that you include. I went against them. Kind of just went. I got just it's kind of probably stupid to go against anti-Euro, especially Mr. Appleby. There, he usually doesn't come with the bums for the grade ones too to Saratoga or Belmont. I guess it would be.
Yeah, it's Saratoga. It's Saratoga. It's okay.
I know.
All right, on to the marquee event, and this is a big race in the Game of Silks. Mike, I know you're a part of it with Tommy. What was it? Tommy Boy?
Tommy G. I got
Tommy
one. Yeah.
G is your horse, and Belmont Stakes Silk's purse of $22,000. This is real money that will be paid out, and it's great to see that 8 of the horses are owned in the Game of Silks, including Alpha Racing, who's very active in the Discord. Go check out the Discord. V Shaker, who's active on Twitter. These are some great people. They have come into this game. We're looking for new fans in the game, and this game has brought it, so we should go and support them as well. If you're interested in finding out more, hit me up. I'm putting together some purchases of some horses. So, Mike, Belmont Stakes, we get the return of the Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner. You get the Preakness Stakes winner returning and Seize the Gray, which is in and of itself a great storyline. Sierra Leone, who had that monster race in the Derby, comes back. You get we'll call him the young shot in Mindframe, who's racing in only his 3rd race coming in here. You get Antiquarian, Dornock, who's the early speed and had who's one of the horses that beat Sierra Leone later last year. There's just so many storylines that you can go through here, and it's a very intriguing race. Where'd you go?
Yeah, like you're saying, love the race setup. Horses coming back, they've been off. You got to like Mystic Dan doing all of them too. He didn't have to do this race after coming off that second one. You got to give the trainer credit there for running the horses you have. That's what we want to see with the retirement of horses so early now. So many good horses you don't see. I think that's why, like the Met Mile races, for an example, like Arcangelo shouldn't be retired. He should be in that race. You know what I mean? Like everyone retires their horses after they're 3 and 4 years. Who's even eligible to compete in the Met Mile? These races with the older males now is so much different than when I first started with racing. So appreciate that, running Mystic Dan back again. He became kind of a fan favorite. He ran a tough Preakness though too, right? Had a shot there, made a run for that to have a setup for the Triple Crown. Showed a lot of heart. So I expect the same thing from him there. A couple of the new faces I ended up falling on in this race. Actually, I saw Mindframe's race, right, and Mr. Rapol threw a chime out, like almost a jab at Mr. Pletcher for like, how wasn't this horse ready for the Derby? Like almost surprised on how good he was. Like what the, like, how they don't really know the train. Someone like Pletcher, you have an idea, but he has so many horses that are so good. Which one will come out? You know what I mean? And the Mindframe, I think, might be the better of all of them. It looks like it's the only one healthy. Poor Fierceness. Hope everything's okay there. But you know what I mean? It's interesting to me. Again, for whatever reason, Mr. Rapol is always on the outside with speed. Every last 3 races I can think about with him And a favorite, its fierceness is how the outside post with speed. So he gets another one, Mind Frame. So I'm on Mind Frame to get second place to Resilience here. We're going with Mott with the upset in the 2-hole. I'm expecting a hot pace. Like Cesar Gray, what else are you gonna do? You have to go from the 1, you know what I mean? And then you have Dornick. We all know that's the only thing Dornick can do, right? He tried to raid off it at Keeneland and got second to last. And I won't even I have a whole nother argument about the 1 hole in the Derby. It almost should be banned, especially if you're speed. Like, what do you do if you have the 1 hole in the Derby? He got shuffled. He tried to go, and everyone comes down, and the new gate is out. If you look on the head end, the 1 hole is actually like you have to come out, or you'll run into that with the new gate. It's just terrible. Like they need to. I was thinking of another thing. Sorry, I'm just rambling. But the points, like if you get points, it should have a benefit of your post position. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you're a leader in the Derby points and you get stuck with a 1 hole, I'd be hot. Like because especially if you're speed. What do you think about that?
It's definitely an interesting concept, but oh man, I don't know. I do love the randomness of the pull of because then you're going to start applying that to all races, and hey, maybe that means that horses will run more because it's not just get above. It's not just get above 50 to get in the Derby. Yeah. It's get 100 and whatever so that I can make sure I get myself a good spot in the gate. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, so anyways, I'm on Resilience here. We're going with the 2 new faces. We're going 210 to finish out that double there. Maybe get 2 prices. Hopefully the 2 chalks don't come. I don't know what Mind Frame's odds will be. I'm real curious. What do you think? It's the second favorite. I'm thinking 5 to 1. I think it goes the other way. What do you think?
You think so? I mean, Sierra Leone's going to be your favorite. Mystic Dan's going to take money from fans that know him as the Kentucky Derby winner. That Sees the Gray is going to take money, obviously, as well from the Preakness. So those ones are definitely, I count those off. I think we're going to get a good price on Resilience because I'm using Resilience as well. I think Mind Frame is going to take money. I do. I don't know about 5 to 1. That seems too high to me when you get the Putcher connections and a horse that's put up, the 2 performances plus IRAD in New York.
A lot of stuff. You're right. He might get overbet. It's true.
And that's why I'm not going to use him. I'm going to. And I heard today, I was listening to Steve Bick's show, and he mentioned, I think it was Mike Welch, who said, this horse could be a freak. And that always scares me, right? Well, guess who I also thought could be a freak? That was Fierceness, and I put all my money on him in the Kentucky Derby. So enough of these. Stop telling me these Ripolis are freaks, and then make me waste my money on them. So I have approached this race. I'm a little concerned because I Sierra Leone for the longest time in our chat, me and El Hombre, I was like, that's a Belmont horse. That's a Belmont horse, right? Well, guess what? Got to remind myself the Belmont's not the 1.5 miles. The Belmont's not at Belmont. It's at Saratoga. Horses that are more than 5 lengths. Matt DeSantis said this last night on our live stream at Saratoga in these dirt races. Although it's a long stretch, they do not perform as well. It's and then you add to this fact that I know Sierra Leone, they changed the bid to hope them keep them straight, but this horse just lugs in and wants to go left. And to me, to take a favorite in a race where I think this field is so evenly matched that I'm just playing the Sierra Leone can beat me, and El Hombre is going to call me an idiot and say I told you so, and I'll have to listen to that. But that's all good. I mean, that's why we play this game, right? And so I agree with you on Resilience. I'm very intrigued by that move he made mid-race in the Derby. Yeah. Concerned a little bit about the distance, as was Mott. But Jessica said Mott wasn't expecting to run in this, but he changed his mind for a reason, and he changed his mind obviously because he thinks that he has a shot in here. And if that's the case, and from what we saw, if he can sustain that move he made, maybe Junior makes the move a little bit later, I think you got a good shot with Resilience. I am going to use my top pick is most likely the 5 Antiquarian. I'm really pumped about what Antiquarian and, Sean Patrick Nolan here on the channel just absolutely has talked about this horse nonstop for months. I'm always high on horses coming out of the Peter Pan. coming into the Belmont, and it paid me nicely last year with Arcangelo. I think the spread out of the races works out really well. And, I'm intrigued by what Antiquarian could bring for the Belmont Stakes. And then I'm going to use a little bit of a wild card here. A same horse out of that same race. This is the number 7 Protective, okay? Obviously has to take a big step up. But in that Peter Pan, Protective had more horse. And he just got behind some traffic and he got shut off and he had to come out and go wide. And by the time he got out wide, he was coming. He just didn't have any more distance to get there in time. And if I'm going to take a shot against Sierra Leone and against Mindframe, I'm not going to go skinny. I'm going to try and use a couple here. So Resilience, Antiquarian, and Protective of where are the 3 that I've landed on to try and get me through the Belmont Stakes. Dornock, I'm a huge fan of. He's going to be out there. I don't know that he's going to get loose on the lead, so I think that spells him trouble. He's a horse that clearly we know probably is a need the lead type. Antiquarian is exciting for me because I know how I'll be with Sean on Saturday in person. He's going to lose his mind if Antiquarian wins the Belmont.
That'd be what an upset that'll be. Like you said though, all those there's 3 of those horses in this race, so they change the order, wakes up a little bit this time here. Again, runs it back, and then with your 7 there, a horse I didn't even really look at, but looking back at it now, hey, you get Tyler up, man. Tyler can win these races. He's probably a little mad about coming off Sierra Leone. These guys are competitive. That bothers him because to me, Sierra Leone is the best 3-year-old right now. Like to me, if you just off paper, can it lose? Of course, but off of shown me enough. I was Mr. Fade Sierra Leone and then went with him with the Derby. I got on the train, but I'm just going to go against him this time. I think he's going to do really well later on. This race, I just don't feel it, but I think Sierra Leone's going to do some damage at the Breeders' Cup, actually. I wouldn't be shocked if we see something special. That's Sierra Leone the way it gobbles up ground. But you say it has the issues. It lugs in, That stuff costs you wins. That takes energy out of the horse, Especially if you're fighting it, more than we see. We act like we see the replay. Tyler's fighting that. He can feel it. That's a fast animal and strong. And Tyler's, trying his, a lot easier said than done. You could tell how strong he was lugging in multiple times, right?
Absolutely. And what I'll warn my viewers about is another angle why I like Protective is he lost to this horse by the name of Valentine Candy, and Valentine Candy is actually racing in the Woody Stevens. So that is your race 8 on your program. Valentine Candy is the number 4, and this is another horse that I'm high on. So I think Valentine Candy may give me a little bit of a preview into the Belmont, depending upon how he runs, to let me know if I'm on to something with Protective, or maybe I need to change my strategy there. But hey, 20-1, at least I'm not going to get any comments calling me a chalk eater like I did for the Derby videos, right?
Right. Hey, take a stand, whatever. Hey, sometimes the chalk is what it is.
There's is. I put smoke for you for your ticket. I wish when they printed them out and gave them to you, that's what you'd get. Mike's going to go 5-8 with the 210. It's only going to cost you $4. I'm going to go 259 with the 257 for the Belmont Stakes up at Saratoga. As I mentioned, if you're up there, please reach out. I'd be so happy to meet all of you in person. This is such a great game, and our passion for it is so strong. And Mike, I thank you so much for coming on and taking the Daily Double Challenge. Hopefully we can get some winners home. Enjoy, and I hope to see you up at the spa for Whitney weekend.
For sure. Appreciate you coming on. Check me out. You see me anytime. We smoking. I'll see you at the Whitney for sure. We'll have some cigars, buddy.
There we go. Love it. Till next time, like and subscribe. Good luck, everybody.